Welcome to the economy of the collapse. Bienvenue à l'économie du déclin. Today, the debt economy. Why the rich borrow to get richer while everyone else borrow to survive? Your grandparent could buy a home, raise children, own a car, and build a future on a single income. Today, two professionals can barely afford to live. Meanwhile, billionaires are richer than at any point in modern history. So what happened? Did people suddenly become lazy? Or did the economy itself fundamentally change? Because what if modern economies no longer primarily reward work, productivity, or saving, but instead reward debt, asset ownership, and financial engineering? Today I want to talk about debt, financialization, central banks, capital gains, and housing inflation. And why modern capitalism increasingly reward ownership more than labor itself. Because we built a system where the poor borrow to survive, the middle class borrow to stay afloat, and the ultra-rich borrow to avoid taxes while becoming even richer. For much of the 20th century, homes were affordable relative to income. Debt levels were lower, wage tracked productivity more closely, and ownership was accessible to any ordinary worker. A factory worker could buy a home, support a family, save money, and build wealth over time. Debt existed, but it was not the foundation of everyday survival in that economy. But then the economy changed. Gradually, credit exploded, mortgage expanded, interest rate fell, central bank increased the liquidity, and financial market became the center of economic life. And eventually, almost everything became financed: home, cars, education, appliances, phone, lifestyles. The economy became increasingly dependent on debt expansion. As credit expand, asset price rise. It's basic economics. Housing rises, stock rises, real estate rises, and eventually the people who own assets become dramatically wealthier, while the people who depend only on wage fall behind. This is why modern life increasingly feel financially impossible, because salaries did not rise at the same speed as housing, financial asset, and debt-fueled inflation. So modern workers face a brutal reality. To participate in society, they increasingly need debt. A truck that once required a few years of saving now may require financing, long-term loan, monthly payment, and a permanent debt exposure. The debt outlasts even the life expectancy of the truck, so you stay in that cycle forever. Homes. For many younger people, home ownership without massive leverage is nearly impossible, and this changed society psychologically. People stop building wealth slowly through saving. Instead, they leverage, they borrow, they refinance, and live inside a perpetual financial obligation. But here is why the story becomes truly disturbing. The ultra-rich do not interact with debt the same way ordinary people do. Average people borrow because they lack money, but the wealthy, they don't borrow because they lack money. They already own massive appreciating assets. And that distinction changed everything. Among wealth managers and tax planners, there is a famous strategy often summarized as buy, borrow, and die. So step 1, buy appreciating assets, stock, real estate, businesses. Step 2, never sell them. Do not sell them, because selling triggers capital gain tax. Instead, borrow against the asset. The billionaires keep ownership, the asset continue appreciating, and the borrowed money finance the lifestyle. And because loans are not treated as taxable income, massive taxation can be deferred. A worker is selling his time. He's earning income. He pays taxes immediately. The wealthy, they own appreciating assets. They borrow against them. They avoid realizing any capital gain and continue compounding wealth. Investigative reporting has documented how some of America's most wealthiest individuals saw their net worth grow enormously while paying relatively little federal income tax compared to that growth. Why? Because the unrealized capital gain are generally not taxed until the assets are sold, and borrowing against asset does not usually trigger taxable income. Then comes the next level, wealth preservation. The wealthy often have access to trust, holding corporation, estate planning, tax optimization structure, and sophisticated legal planning. The point is not that taxes disappear completely. The point is tax can often be deferred, optimized, or minimized, or transferred far more efficiently than ordinary wage income. And over generation, this compounds. This creates two economies. One economy for the worker, with wage, taxes, debt, inflation, rising costs, and another economy for asset owner, appreciation, leverage, tax optimization, and compound growth. And eventually, inequality accelerates structurally, and that's the really important part, because ownership compounds faster than labor income. That's why we have two type of economy that creates over time. And this transforms society itself. Young people delay children, delay marriage, delay home ownership, delay stability. The middle class weakens, and that's why a lot of people say, "Oh, where is it? Has it disappeared?" That become normal. Financial stress become permanent. Meanwhile, asset holders thrive. You can see them on the app. Financial markets soar. Luxury consumption explodes. Lamborghini and all of that. And many ordinary people increasingly feel that the system no longer works for them. So we arrive at a profound question. Can a civilization remain stable when home ownership or ownership of assets matter more than productive labor? That's a big question. Because modern capitalism increasingly reward leverage, financial engineering, asset inflation, and debt structures more than work, saving, family formation, or long-term stability, which was for a very long time previously the core, the basis. The modern economy no longer simply produces goods, it increasingly produces debt, financial dependency, and asset inequality. And perhaps the greatest irony is this: the people most dependent on debt pay the higher price for it, while the people who own the asset use debt to become even richer. The poor borrow to survive, the middle class borrow to stay afloat, but the wealthy borrow to avoid saving, appreciating asset, and to become even wealthier. And that may be the defining economic reality of our time.